Introduction: How Domino's Pizza Turned Cardboard into Millions of Dollars. Imagine owning a multi-billion-dollar global enterprise selling millions of meals daily, but when you invite your customers into a focus group and ask for their honest opinion on your core product, they tell you with brutal sincerity, the crust tastes like cardboard and the sauce tastes like microwaved cheap ketchup. In most corporate boardrooms, executives would immediately bury these data points in the nearest trash can while launching an aggressive PR campaign to convince the public that their taste buds are defective, not the pizza. But rational analysis tells us something entirely different. Cardboard can actually be the foundation of a multi-billion-dollar empire, provided you have the courage to deconstruct your self-delusions. We are not talking about a stroke of luck here, nor a shiny marketing campaign that tricked the public for a few months, but a surgical, logical intervention by an institution that decided to stop lying to itself, abandon dogmatic habits, and measure reality based on solid data. How did the worst pizza in America turn into one of the most successful software companies in the world that happens to sell food? Let us break down this equation at the molecular level. Chapter 1: The Speed Trap and Initial Data Blindness. To understand how this entity slid into the abyss of quality, we must establish the precise historical context. On December 9, 1960, brothers Tom and James Monahan purchased a small run-down pizza shop called Domino's in Ypsilanti, Michigan for just $500. Shortly after, James traded his share to his brother in exchange for a used Volkswagen Beetle, leaving Tom to officially rename the business Domino's Pizza Inc. in 1965. The core strategic decision upon which Tom built his empire had nothing to do with sauce flavor or cheese quality. It was a purely logistical decree summarized in one phrase: hot pizza delivered in 30 minutes or it's free. This model succeeded brilliantly in its first few decades, but it trapped the company in a fatal analytical blind spot. The executive leadership at the time fell into the appeal to tradition, assuming that the operational behavior that drove expansion in the 1960s and 1970s had to remain a sacred metric forever, regardless of how the surrounding context changed. The analytical flaw manifested in how data was collected. Internal performance measurement was reduced to a single variable: delivery time. Scientific thinking was applied to optimize delivery routes, design insulating boxes, and minimize kitchen prep time, but descriptive and critical analysis of the food's actual quality was entirely neglected. When you collect incomplete data and ignore critical feedback regarding your primary product, your decision-making logic becomes fundamentally warped. Speed was masking the terrible taste, but as the market matured and competitors offered higher quality, the company discovered that clinging to speed alone at the expense of the dining experience was a decision leading slowly towards collapse. Chapter 2: The Cardboard Trap, Denial Fallacies, and the Brink of Ruin. By the late 2000s, this systemic neglect reached a boiling point. In late 2008, the company's stock price crashed to an all-time low of approximately $2.83 per share. The context was screaming failure, and a viral 2009 social media scandal involving employees misbehaving in a kitchen burned the brand's reputation to ashes. The executive team commissioned rigorous focus groups to diagnose the crisis, and the raw feedback was devastating. Consumers described the crust as lifeless and the cheese as tasting like processed plastic. How did the legacy management respond before their complete turnaround? For years, they had succumbed to the sunk cost fallacy alongside confirmation bias. The internal justification was, we have invested millions over 40 decades building this exact supply chain and recipe, so we cannot abandon it now. The problem must be weak advertising campaigns or fickle consumer moods. From a sound analytical perspective, persisting in an action that reality proves to be ineffective is entirely irrational. Decisions are only rational if they modify contextual parameters to fulfill fundamental priorities, preserving the entity's survival and minimizing customer pain. The pain generated by a terrible eating experience was actively eroding market share and threatening the company's existential survival. Ignoring critical product feedback only compounded the crisis, making it imperative to break this cycle of denial before the company was erased from the market altogether. Chapter 3: Scientific Deconstruction and the Overhaul Revolution. In early 2010, Patrick Doyle assumed the role of CEO, initiating one of the boldest intellectual and operational overhauls in modern corporate history. In late 2009 and early 2010, the company launched a shocking campaign titled The Pizza Turnaround. This was not a cosmetic ad, it was a public confession of failure. The CEO and corporate chefs appeared in a documentary reading the nastiest customer complaints out loud, officially executing the old recipe. However, confession is only half the battle. The critical phase was the scientific execution required to alter the data. The company assembled food scientists and culinary experts to deconstruct the pizza at the molecular level. 1. The crust was overhauled with garlic, butter, and herbs to elevate flavor profiles and eliminate the dry texture. 2. The sauce chemistry was completely re-engineered to balance acidity and incorporate rich notes of oregano and red pepper. 3. The cheese was upgraded to 100% real mozzarella with precise moisture calibration for optimal melt and texture. Through this systemic shift, the company dismantled the false dilemma, a logical fallacy that had forced their thinking into a binary choice for decades: either ultra-fast delivery or great-tasting pizza. Empirical reality proved that science and optimized logistics can deliver both speed and quality simultaneously. By altering product parameters, the new actions satisfied the core decision criteria. First, securing corporate survival by fending off impending bankruptcy, and second, eliminating customer disappointment and replacing it with genuine satisfaction. Prioritizing pain reduction over short-term cost savings cleared the path towards sustainable financial growth. Chapter 4: Pizza Algorithms and the Software Empire. After fixing the physical product, the company installed a new digital engine. Between 2010 and 2020, Domino's stopped viewing itself merely as a restaurant chain and rebranded as a software company that specializes in delivery logistics. They engineered the Domino's Tracker to provide customers with real-time data regarding their orders, and developed ordering channels across smartwatches, social platforms, and even a zero-click ordering app. This operational shift was grounded in the continuous collection of contextual customer data. Modern consumers don't just want good pizza, they want to eliminate the anxiety and friction of waiting and uncertainty. The company's stock price skyrocketed from its 2008 low of $2.83 to over $500 in recent years, outperforming major Silicon Valley tech giants in percentage growth over that timeframe. This transformation was neither an accident nor a miracle, but the logical outcome of a rigorous framework, gathering data free of logical fallacies, altering reality using scientific methodology, and executing decisive actions that protect institutional survival while placing customer pain reduction above all else. Conclusion: rational engineering against harsh reality. The overarching story of Domino's Pizza serves as a timeless lesson in practical philosophy and decision science. Stubbornness, dogmatic inertia, and denying empirical reality are the primary drivers of inevitable failure for any individual, group, or enterprise. When you realize that your product or your mindset has degraded into worthless cardboard, true courage lies not in decorating the box, it lies in having the rationality to deconstruct your failures, purge your logical fallacies, and adapt to real-world data without illusion. Rational decisions, engineered through science and objective analysis, remain the sole boundary separating extinction from long-term dominance. What did you gain from the video?